Good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. Many laws have been created in compliance with God's values. Our heritage was built by forefathers who believed that man should be free under God's laws, which are outlined in Scripture. Today, many people have forgotten this correlation between church and state. Issues arise from questions regarding the laws within our Constitution, often brought upon by acts of violence by irresponsible people with clouded worldviews. As a man who was raised with morality and values, but also raised with firearms used as tools for self-protection and production, I have chosen to serve my nation and its society in order to protect that which our forefathers had established, our freedom. As a member of the military, an avid hunter, and a father of two, I have found the usefulness of firearms in everyday life. A usefulness only as a means for providing that which I protect. In the military, I've been trained to train those with little or no experience handling firearms. Part of this training includes how to respect the firearm with proper care and handling. If all those who wish to handle firearms understood Christian ethics, gun control issues would disappear. The debate of gun ownership only exists because we as humans are neglecting our duty to promote God's values. Values of personal property rights and values of government. Now, according to the National Rifle Association, which used figures from the U.S. Census Bureau, 40 to 45% of all households in America own a firearm. Of these owners, 67% own their firearms as protection against crime. Based on survey data from the U.S. Department of Justice, during 2008, about 436,000, or 8% of all violent crimes, were committed by offenders visibly armed with a gun. An obvious gun control issue exists today. The government had addressed the issue with many laws and regulations, included, but not limited to, the Gun Control Act of 1968 and the National Firearms Act, explained within the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms publication 5300.4, published in 2005. Throughout Scripture, the Lord speaks of protecting that which is yours as well. Luke chapter 11, verse 21, Jesus spoke to a crowd and stated, "When a strong man, fully armed, guards his own house, his possessions are safe." The Lord explains that it is our right to protect our personal property. God also values and instructs governments. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 2 states, "Government has a duty to maintain order." Our Constitution's Second Amendment states, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Now, to promote what God values, the government must step in and not only produce laws that limit the right to firearm ownership, but enforce proper training and ethical uses of them. The government should enforce the education of ethical firearms used by incorporating the proper care and handling of firearms, utilizing common training used in military. Perhaps use a field manual 3-23.35, which is titled Combat Training with Pistols. In this, the publication trains the handler of the pistols everything from parts of the firearm to care of the firearm, to proper handling techniques. The state of Maine holds firearms training, and most states require firearm or hunter safety courses before allowing the use of firearms for hunting practices. We as people should also incorporate Christian ethical training with firearm handling and educate the values of God to reproduce responsible gun owners. We should involve the basis of the Christian worldview in training those who desire to own a firearm. For instance, a governmental background screening is required when purchasing a handgun, but the screening process only involves a phone call to a telecommunications company that looks at a computer screen and bases a decision on owning a handgun on historical records. Instead, we should conduct an ethical training interview to determine eligibility. Now, widespread groups across the United States distinctly neglect their duties to promote what God values by ignoring the major social issue of gun control. We have addressed the obvious existence of gun control issue and covered how the government regulates the issue. Now, we as Americans must educate potential and existing gun owners in the proper ethical Christian values of being a responsible firearm owner. Now, according to an FBI projection, at the current homicide rate, roughly 1 in every 240 Americans will be murdered. We must train and educate our society to change the current rate and protect the lives and rights of our citizens. Thank you.